Welcome to the Monday stream. Hope everyone's having an awesome Monday morning. Ooh, sorry guys, hold on. How rude of me. There you are. There's chat. First Monday of the Biden presidency, true. Uh, hey, Careless Whimper, how's it going? Yeah, we do have a few articles to go over. Hope everyone's having an awesome morning, and hope everyone had a very chill weekend. Thank you, Brett Abel, for hanging out in YouTube chat. Let's see here. Hey Jesse, how's it going? Yes, it is Monday. Hey Madame Defarge, how's it going? Okay, I think that this is perfect. All right, so we do have a couple of different articles to go over for the daily news. Someone posted this on the Discord from Ars Technica. The site posted every face from Parlor's Capitol Hill insurrection videos. Every faces of the riot used open source software to detect, extract, and deduplicate. What the heck does that even mean? So a whole bunch of people decided to download and download everything from Parlor and put it all in one neat little thing. Oh yeah, sorry Cheeto El Rey, I stopped the links for security purposes. We've had incidents in the past, so I kind of like it. Yesterday, not yesterday, Saturday, I was reminded to stop any links. So yes, post it on the Discord. Post it on the Discord. Or if you guys want to check that out, actually, here we go. I'll post this here, and you guys can actually check the full article here, the full website, I should say. Oh, I see, Dustin. Hey, how's it going? Drew. That's the idea. It is quite cozy. Everybody who participated in the violence, what really amounts to an insurrection, should be held accountable. Yes, if you were participating in violence, you should be held accountable. It's entirely possible that a lot of people who are on this website will now face real life consequences for their actions. Yeah, like if you were out there engaging in violence and you get a knock from the Alphabet Boys, I mean, so not facial recognition, but facial detection? What? Oh man, I like this comment in the article. In 2021, a college student has the skills and resources to run an identification campaign at such a scale and efficiency that it would have been only a fever dream in the eyes of the three agencies in the past. Well, I mean, now they can just do it on the fly, right? So, like the other side of this is, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Dustin. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Wow, that's thank you. I really do appreciate that. Thank you, Dustin. Um, wow. Sorry. Thank you. I really really do appreciate that. Thank you for all your hard work. No, thank you for hanging out here. You guys are what makes this go. Um, the other flip side of that is the rumors or the talks of trying to use this as a way of couching not or slipping in some sort of Patriot Act 2.0 that's very vague, that wants to focus on domestic terrorism, which we have laws for this. We already have laws for this. And what worries me is like, yes, okay, these people like did violence, they should suffer consequences if you committed these crimes, and we already have them on the books. The problem is, it kind of like brings me back to in 2019 when Senator Ted Cruz was trying to introduce a bill to say that he kind of like conflated the whole thing. He basically couched in Antifa and left wing activism to try to label those broad concepts into domestic terrorism, right? And that's kind of worrying, right? So like I don't want the government thinking that somebody, like me advocating for Medicare for all, or some type of universal healthcare system for food, housing, education, being that could be considered being a left-wing activist, and then all of a sudden, like, I got the alphabet boys asking about me, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah, we don't need new laws. We need to apply the ones that we have to those who have committed crimes. Obviously, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, that was kind of like worrying how they could kind of take this and then just say, oh yeah, you know what, we probably do need, see, there's a reason why we need a extra Patriot Act, right? Or domestic version of the Patriot Act, right? And I've heard that being floated around. So I just want to keep people, or rather remind people that, just we don't need the government to have to expand their powers where they don't need to be. Right. The problem is, Alex Polo, is that they can couch all of that language in there, and then all of a sudden it becomes very, very, very bad, right? They can couch that language in there, and it could get bad. I just want to make people aware and keep the eyes open, keep people engaged, find out what type of bills are coming up for votes, find out what your representatives are up to, who your representatives are, things like that. Like, the whole idea is to stay engaged and be very cognizant of what's happening. Oh, absolutely, Dustin. Like, those who had clear intent and clear motives that were very illustrated, um, by not only just a couple of social media posts here and there, but for weeks in some cases. For weeks in some cases. Yeah, those people um, will see consequences. There's just no doubt about it. A very interesting article. Alright, so I want to make sure I can put here. They see all the caught up in the moment. I was just with the crowd arguments coming, and they intend to show their goals were illegal and very punishable. Some of them absolutely, and some of them absolutely. They could. I mean, this stuff is documented, right? Like this is like those people who really had malicious intent will be will be dealt with. Some of them were caught up in the moment, some of them not so much, and we have evidence of that. We know this. Anybody who spent enough time around social media would know. Yeah, I know, Alex Paulo. In an ideal world, you would see repercussions, but who knows? I mean, who knows what's going to happen, even with this impeachment trial, right? The fact that this impeachment trial wasn't like a slam dunk is like beyond me too. That means if they see I'm just gonna go with my spouse, parent, or child history, then they'll likely go for minimal charges. Who knows? Our good friend Susan Collins, folks. Our good friend Susan Collins. This one I wanted to discuss. You know, it really does make my blood boil when I see stuff like this. It really does make my blood boil when I see stuff like this. Alright. Susan Collins dismisses Biden's COVID stimulus bill and blow to Democrats. Republican lawmaker Susan Collins has dismissed President Joe Biden's $1.9 billion proposed stimulus package and a COVID-19 stimulus package in another blow to bill Democrats were keen to pass during the first week of February. It'll be fun to see the Justice Department bring a Barr and Rosen memo from the September last year recommending protesters should be charged with. Oh yeah, well didn't they sign like an an executive order that gives them what, like 10 years or something like that, and then like now it's coming into and now that's gonna come into play because of that law, that executive order. Exactly. The fact that the impeachment wasn't easy kind of worries me. It's not impeachable, and literally nothing else is. Yeah. Hey, Dark Knight, how's it going? Yep, that's the point. Newsweek and the Political article are very related. Yes, because this is something that I'm seeing happening, and it's kind of infuriating because it's like, you guys are supposed to get stuff done. 1.9 billion isn't even close to enough. No, it is not. But the fact that they even like want to, it's frustrating. It really is, because like the people, the economy right now needs the economic stimulus. I mean, we're just gonna tread water for a very long time unnecessarily. We're just gonna sit here treading water unnecessarily for whatever. It's like, it's really frustrating because like it feels like they don't want to help. Hey Zeke, how's it going? $252 billion would be needed for 180 million Americans. So we need twice that, right? Isn't it 300? Well, how many Americans would even qualify? 320? Hey Elio, how's it going? I also seen some Republicans say that multiple impeachments will set a precedent for impeachments all the time. I think that there's already been a couple of there's one geez, with that QAnon congressperson who the QAnon the QAnon congressperson who attempted to introduce impeachment or articles of impeachment against Joe Biden already. 180 is the usual number, so yeah, I mean, like, we could totally do this, especially if we focus on the working class and the middle class and the small businesses that actually make this economy go. We could probably do a really good comprehensive stimulus package with probably about what, twice that. Like Darknet said, it's not even close enough. Trillion, yes, trillion. Right, Cheeto Ray. No, but didn't it? Oh, didn't it give like 10 years as well? I don't know. How are QAnon people even allowed in Congress? Well, there's two. Well, actually, there's a few of them in there. Um, I, the same reason anyone would vote for someone like, for example, Ted Cruz. Republican lawmaker Susan Collins has dismissed Joe Biden's $1.9 trillion proposed stimulus package in another blow to bill Democrats were keen to pass in the first week of February. Like, why would anybody like think that Susan Collins, based on her history, would ever be like, yeah, this is okay? The moderate who the moderate who like never breaks ranks. The president, who was inaugurated on Wednesday, is looking to pass additional relief to support American workers and families amid the pandemic. Joe Biden, the Biden administration plans to offer 1,400 stimulus checks for most Americans, higher federal unemployment benefits, aid for states and schools, additional funding for test and vaccine distribution as part of the stimulus. Susan Collins met Senator from Maine. Senator from Maine on Friday said that the bill is premature, given that Congress passed a separate $900 billion economic relief in December. Oh, hey guys, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, did anybody feel like they were Did anybody feel like the relief package that was passed in December was adequate? Did anybody really feel the stimulus of $600? True. Oh, I see, Cheeto Ray. Okay, gotcha. I don't think anyone thought that was enough, right? And here we go. The moderate quote: "We just passed the $900 billion worth of assistance. Why would we have a package that big now?" I don't know, Susan Collins. Have you seen the state of how things are, or have you just been living in a bubble? Maybe a couple of months from now. Oh, hey guys, all we have to do is make that $600 stimulus check last a couple of months, right? Yeah, if we count our pennies, folks. If we count our pennies, according to Susan Collins, we should make, of course. How much is the price of bread nowadays? Like, what? This is so out of touch with reality. Like, yes, I'm sure that, if you shift a couple of pennies here, you should be able to move money around so that the $600 will actually um, last you a couple of months. Just like the 1,200 was supposed to last you, what, like almost 10 to 11 months? Yeah. Okie dokie. That pitiful stimulus is why we see people giving up on the federal government. True, and demanding things to be open so that they can have their job back. True, because there's no assistance whatsoever. This is inadequate. This is embarrassing in comparison to what we can do if we reprioritize our if we reorganize our priorities, I should say. We could have done so much. We could have done things so much different. We haven't really gotten any stimulus in Denmark other than indirect tiny bumps in October, but as someone who lost my job in March, I've been safe on food and rent the entire time due to social safety nets. Wow, amazing! It's almost like if you have some type of even remotely a government that even remotely cares about its citizens, even the most bare minimum to make sure people have food and housing, like the absolute bare minimum, and we can't even get that one together. It's quite sad and frustrating. So yeah, of course, like then of course we have people like then saying, screw this, I need to work, not because I want, like, not because I want to expose myself, or because like it's because I need food on the table, I need to pay rent, well, I need to pay mortgage, I need to pay student loans. Maybe a couple of months from now, the needs will be evident. The needs will be evident. Well, in a couple of months, by the time you realize the needs are evident, we're behind. Holy crap, this is so frustrating. Our objection to the bill will pose a problem for the Biden administration, which has a narrow control of Congress and the Senate. If Collins doesn't come on board, it may be difficult for Democrats to get the 60 votes required for the bill to pass in the Senate, as at least 10 Republicans would need to back the bill. Biden will need to appease the progressives and centrists in his own party and woo lawmakers across the political aisle. If he fails to reach the vote threshold, Democrats will have to rethink their plan. Some have suggested they could go through the so-called budget reconciliation process, which would need a slimmer majority to pass. On Thursday, Democratic Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said the lower chamber would be completely ready to pass the $1.9 trillion bill February 1st. It is what the people need and what the country needs to crush the virus, put money in the pockets of American people, and honor our heroes. Democrats are speaking to Republicans to build support with the stimulus package. Yeah, you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to do negotiations, but like you can't torpedo this because you have this feeling, right? You gotta do this based on reality, and right now, the reality is there's a lot of people who need this. Okay. Incredible. I had a pretty good walkthrough of the COVID proposal, said Lisa McCaskey of Velasco. Support is likely to be crucial, told supporters. It was an opportunity for me to ask some questions. Like, you see, well, this is what infuriates me. Like these people are positioned, or are, I guess, branded as moderates who sometimes are more amenable to cross-party lines, and sometimes they will disagree with their own party, and yet they never do. It's like, okay. Thanks for the follow, at Cyrus. I appreciate that. McCaskey and Senator Mitt Romney of Utah, who both played an instrumental role in talks on the previous stimulus, have been skeptical about the additional spending. Biden plans to take executive action on Friday to provide a stopgap measure of financial relief for Americans, while Congress considers the larger package. The executive orders will increase food aid, which is I believe, a 15% increase on food stamps. Access to food stamps, and protect unemployed job seekers, allow federal workers and contractors to get a 15-hour minimum wage, which is within his purview in terms of getting that via executive order. This is absolutely infuriating. So as Chiro already said, this is kind of to piggyback off this. Here we are. A bipartisan group of senators. So just to be clear, there's a bipartisan group of senators who are completely against this, which is ridiculous to me. A bipartisan group of senators told White House officials on Sunday that the stimulus spending in President Joe Biden's coronavirus relief plan provides too much money to high-income Americans. Hey guys, apparently, listen up. Apparently, if you make 75,000 and below, apparently getting a coronavirus relief check is providing too much money to high-income Americans. Somebody please with a bigger brain than me. Can somebody square that circle for me? Right? And on the same tongue, say that they want tax cuts for the rich and big businesses. This is absurd, beyond absurd. Yes, Alio, if people don't have money, the economy stops. The bill is the problem, not the $1,600. Well, they need to figure this out because the bill doesn't seem like this money doesn't seem to be like that big of a deal, right? It seems to me like most of this money is going towards not only it's not only going to direct payments, but it's also funding money for vaccine distribution. It's also funding money to make sure for rent moratoriums and all this other stuff. So I don't understand like what the problem would be. You see what was in the last bill? No, I'm talking about this one. I'm talking about this one that's being proposed right now. I'm talking about Joe Biden's plan to try to get economic stimulus to not only people but to make sure that states get federal aid, to make sure that money is being poured into vaccine distribution and stuff like that. I'm talking about this one, the 1.9 trillion. Exactly. Exactly. Biden's proposal would provide 1,400 direct payments to Americans, some of whom senators say they don't need money. Okay, so this is so infuriating. Okay, so yes, some of these people that get the 1,400 won't need the money, but you know what happens? They will spend because they'll have extra money to put towards the economy. Like, what do you? This is so dumb. And it's like the threshold, using the same threshold from the last stimulus package, it was 75,000 and below. What do you think these people are gonna do with this money? The amount of people that will be receiving this stimulus check that don't need it is first of all going to be very, very low. Second of all, those that get extra money will have extra incentive to spend. Okay. I guess these people don't really understand how this works, but that's okay. It will only. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, unless their plan is to just like tank this whole thing, they're doing a fine job of that. Still, the discussion was civil, and there was a consensus on the need to act urgently on vaccine distribution. It was also a sign that the Biden White House will be more hands-on than the former President Donald Trump. I don't care. Will nearly refuse to sign the last bill, making a flurry of last-minute requests. Yeah, okay. The bipartisan group of 16 senators held a call with Brian Deese, director of the White House National Economic Council, Jeff Zients, Biden's coronavirus coordinator, Louisa Terrell, head of White House Legislative Affairs on Sunday afternoon, first of what's sure to be many conversations between centrists and Biden administration. The 75-minute call set up by Joe Manchin is one of the first big calls the Biden administration has held as it works to build cross-party support for the 1.9 trillion plan. Senators asked for more data on how the White House filled out its plan. The senators told the White House officials they support spending more on vaccine distribution, but some balked at the stimulus payments. Yeah, that's the problem. It's the poor's getting money is the problem. Oh my god, this is so frustrating. You know, this is one of like the greatest memes. Do you know how much 1.9 trillion is? Your great-great-great-great-grandchildren will be paying it back. Do you know what will happen if we don't get this economy going? The alternative, yeah, like someone who true. Like, do you understand that like in this particular situation, the correct play is to for a bit for this moment actually money printer go burr. Make sure people get money to stimulate the economy to spend and move how that works. In my opinion, I don't know. Hey, sourcing, how's it going? I don't know if I may be economically illiterate for all I know. Who knows? Maybe I'm just talking smack. What are you talking about? This is divorce from reality. Okay, so the idea would be that you're going to replace these dying industries with new infrastructure, with new green infrastructure and new green energy, and develop. The idea would be, in my opinion, to develop new technology and use the same workers who built this to build the future. You can make jobs out of this, so I don't know what you're talking about. They absolutely do, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. Urging the White House to make them targeted towards those in greater need, according to the sources, but we did! Do you know how much red tape it would be to set up like all of this bureaucratic nonsense instead of just saying like, hey, you know what, $75,000 income and under gets the check, that's it. Holy crap. Press the Biden officials on why families making $300 would be eligible and urge on focus on low-income workers. Who's talking? Who made this up? Okay, if this is true, then just lower it. And that's it. I was the first to raise that issue, but there seemed to be a lot of agreement that those payments need to be more targeted. I would say it's not clear to me how the administration came up with this 1.9 trillion figure for the package. Collins said the top line number was a concern to her and bipartisan crew led by Collins and Manchin. Cool. A bipartisan effort to screw everybody. Nice. So I guess they did figure out the whole unity thing. You know what? I was wrong. Hey, guys, you know what? I was wrong. Joe Biden did it. He actually delivered on his promise to get unity and reach across the aisle. However, what he meant was he would get bipartisan support to screw us. So, and again, just to be clear, oil is still being pumped, okay, from different directions. But I think that we should be focusing on reprioritizing how we get our energy. And I think that, we don't need to be building new pipelines. We don't need to be doing all this stuff. Isn't that what the plan was? Hey, Mammoth Waffle. Clearly. Yeah, no, he did it, guys. Joe Biden absolutely did deliver on his promise. On getting bipartisan support to not do anything about the economic crisis. I mean, seriously, if he doesn't deliver, and improve the material conditions of people, this isn't gonna bode well. Slowly transition over time, you mean like the energy? That's not ideal. I think that we should be focusing on getting it done as quickly as possible. I mean, like, it would be a massive infrastructure undertaking that would produce a lot of jobs and be a part of the economic recovery, should they choose to make it this way. And you can basically, the idea is to move towards renewable energy wherever we can, and that should buy us time for research and development into fusion technology, which will eventually be the way to go, in my opinion. I mean, we have so many different technologies and options right now that we could just start doing a massive infrastructure project, get people to work, and stimulate the economy. That's the whole purpose of something like a Green New Deal would do, right? That's the entire purpose. So, like, the idea that, like, oh, well, the entire industry is collapsed, there's going to be 1 billion people out of work. Some, but there's going to be a lot of jobs available for to build the future. Why don't we do that? Yeah, why don't you check? Why don't you take a look at that article at Cyrus? It's happening either way. Might as well. Look at that. It's happening either way. So don't tell me the technology isn't available. Don't tell me that we need to be that we can't do it, right? Like, don't tell me that we can't refocus people who worked in these industries to build the future. I mean, these people are from the oil industry. Their main thing is that they work with their hands. Why not use these people? Build the future. Wind and solar make up a small share of the U.S. electricity production today, but they're poised to supply 70% of new power plant capacity built this year. This year alone. That's not according to pro solar activists or the industry trade group. It's a calculation of the federal government. Solar will deliver the most new capacity with 39%, according to the tally by U.S. Energy Information Administration. Wind follows close behind with 31%. The long-awaited nuclear plant in Georgia could finally wrap up one of its reactors this year, contributing to another 3%. Battery storage will grow to 11% of new capacity, with the carbon impact determined by cleanliness of the electricity that charges them. Nice. So don't tell me that the technology isn't there. It just needs to be deployed. Right, it seems like, it's really weird, like careless whimper. It's like, oh, yeah, when we advocate for America to be at the front and center, uh all of a sudden that all goes to that argument gets dropped, right? Shouldn't um being here as someone who being here in this country, wouldn't you want your country to be the leader in technological innovation, leading the way? I mean, first of all, it's our responsibility as a country who has a lot of, you know, influence across the world. Um, we have the responsibility to be the front runners of technological innovation to try to turn this around before, before it could get really bad. Yeah, true. Well, I'm not either. And here's another thing that we need to address in order for us to kind of move forward with this, because if we get our energy in um as much as clean as possible, as renewable as possible, that's a huge blow that we need to do in order to even begin to address climate change, right? It's just like one of the many things that we need to do, and if we can, it'll be a good step forward. Also, one of the things that we need to do is, oh man, is this frustrating? The breaking up of monopoly utility companies. Like, why is that a thing? Yeah, that's a great analogy, or euphemism, analogy, example. The logic is like saying the light bulb hurts the economy by putting candle makers out of business. Exactly. Like, folks, we can't, it's just not sustainable. I'm sorry. We need to move forward. We need to improve, and we need to develop new technologies that will help us in the future. Else, the alternative is catastrophe, or moving towards that. This tabulation spans competitive markets and states where monopoly utilities call a shot. Notably, it only counts utility-scale projects of solar and batteries at home and businesses will yield an even bigger clean energy tally. Nice. Yep, so this is great. Back to being angry at Congress. Hold on, folks. Collins said that the top line number was a concern to her and her bipartisan crew, led by Collins and Joe Manchin, needed to reconvene to figure out how to respond to a proposal that Republican senators say cannot pass the Senate. That group was key to passing the $900 billion package in December, which many Republicans say makes an immediate large package difficult to pass. That package included $600 in direct payments to many Americans. I'm going to suggest that we have to get together and talk about all what we think we could be a reasonable package, one that could garner bipartisan support. You know what could probably garner bipartisan support if we give the people another like $400 check. Shutting down pipelines kills jobs, they cry, while ignoring Texas' biggest new job market created by the wind energy. True, and solar is taking over as well. It's like new technology is going to advance and should be advanced, especially when this industry is already dying. The only reason oil and the fossil fuel industry is even remotely capable of sustaining itself is, well, all the government subsidies. That's it, to be quite honest. Also, you can't be in favor of the free market while defending something like the fossil fuel industry, because the free market is dictating that that renewables are getting cheaper, easier, and cleaner to manufacture. Where my free market folks at? Why are you in favor of leaving an industry that's, first of all, being propped up by the government? Shouldn't you let the free market dictate what happens? Kind of strange logic. I'm going to suggest that we get together and talk about what we think could be a reasonable package, one that could get garner bipartisan support. The administration clearly is very eager to move very quickly, and we want to make sure that there's justification. Especially, well, the justification is if you don't get it together and you don't fix this problem, things are gonna get worse. Okay, is that enough justification? Susan Collins, Joe Manchin. Not true. The justification is if you don't fix this, and if you don't start turning the ship around and producing results for the people, this is going to spell disaster. Is that justification enough? Especially since there's more especially since there's so much money remaining from the previous packages. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get this straight. There's money remaining from the previous packages. So you shuffle that money back. That's so what they're saying is that they overpaid, or they overestimated the amount of money. That's kind of weird. I thought there wasn't enough money. Senator Angus King of Maine also questioned the price tag. This isn't monopoly money. Well, I mean, if we continue going down this path, our money will be as good as monopoly money if we keep going down this path. There's a fundamental decision here on the part of the administration, and they do. And that is, they do want to work on the negotiation of a bipartisan proposal, or they do want to make or try to move a larger package to reconciliation, King said. That didn't come up today explicitly, but that's sort of what's in the background. The King added the Biden officials on the call were open to the senator's input, and top line number were specifically discussed the call. If they were interested in just jamming this through, they wouldn't have interrupted the Packers game. Oh, whatever. Adding that both White House and senators were eager to find an agreement. Okay. Here is like what needs to happen. The agreement needs to be what is the best option for the American people. Period. That's the only thing that should be discussed in any of these coronavirus economic relief packages. That's it. That's the only concern. That's it. What is the best option outcome, I should say, for the American people. How much more can they afford to be screwed, right? How much more um behind in rent do we need before we see a huge economic crisis? I mean, this isn't rocket science. This isn't rocket science. You need to fix this. That is the only justification and the only motivation any one of these representatives needs to be talking about. How can we get this economy turned back around? What can we do to fix and help the American people? That's it. That's the only concern that should be coming out of any of these people's mouths. More science, less politics, and superstition. Hey, Assignment Earth. Hey, would you like to come up here and sit in my chair? I'm sorry, I forgot. Was this your stream? I'm sorry, folks. Hey, everybody. I apologize. This is actually not my stream. It actually belongs to Assignment Earth. I'm sorry. You know, I forget that Assignment Earth dictates what happens in this stream. Oh, you didn't mean me? Okay. I was about to say, you mean the government. The government knows about the science. That's what's frustrating about this whole entire thing. In that case, I apologize. The government understands and knows the science behind this. They've been having like a bajillion reports. Okay? The idea of no, the idea that climate change is something like unbeknownst to any of these people is like not. I don't buy it. You know. I thought it was obvious where the problem was. Yeah. No, no, no. It's not like the government doesn't know. We've had multiple reports throughout decades understanding what climate change is, what's the impact, what's the potential impact. And you didn't notice my comments before. 100% swears. I'll leave you to avoid you misunderstanding. Yeah, I apologize. Well, to be fair, the only comment you've made is Greta's not impressed. Better sense of administration priorities and how they crafted this plan. Yeah, sure. That was a general issue that was expressed around a number of things. The more targeted the assistance where it can be needed, the more helpful, said Shaheen. The senators agreed, however, that the vaccine distribution should be the priority over provisions like the 15 minimum wage, which we cannot get the support of 10 Republicans. Should be priority over provisions like that. Well, okay, well, why are they... Okay. Hold on. The vaccine distribution has absolutely nothing to do with the minimum wage. More deep state, true. And didn't Joe Biden already do his executive order to try to fill up the minimum wage? At least on his federal purview. Like the 15 minimum wage, which cannot get support of 10 Republicans. Why are they even like talking about this? The whole thing of 1.9 trillion is for the coronavirus relief. For now, the Biden administration is pursuing a bill through regular order, then through budget reconciliation, which can be used to evade a filibuster, but even some Democrats indicated they're not sold on the Biden package. Representative Josh Gottheimer and Tom Reed, co-chairs of the House Problem Solvers Caucus, has also joined the call. The White House has called urgent action by Congress to send more money to hit hard communities and more resources to help ramp up vaccinations. And the death toll surpassed 400,000 earlier this month. Biden has vowed to get 100 million vaccines to Americans within his first 100 days. I hope so. Biden's 15 minimum wage was only for federal employees and contractors. Right, that's the only thing that he can affect in the immediate, with his executive branch powers. That's the only thing that he can do, to be quite honest. So the rest will have to be done through legislation. But I don't see this being a part of. I don't see this necessarily being important to like the coronavirus stuff. You can make this as a separate project to try to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. So yeah. Hey, Olubastias. SCOTUS just dismissed the lawsuit about Trump profiteering off its family's government positions. Oof. Well, must be nice, I guess. Yeah, I apologize, Simon underscore Earth. We get a lot of trolls, so sometimes things get misread. They said it was a moot point now that he's out of office. So yeah, hey, listen, folks. Consequences out the window. People can just do whatever they want, I guess. Screw it. Within days of taking office, Biden signed more than a dozen executive actions aimed at tackling the pandemic, including mandated face masks on federal priorities, invoking the Defense Production Act to improve vaccine supplies, directing FEMA to designate COVID-19 liaison to designate a COVID-19 liaison to coordinate with the states where the national emergency term, like we treated like one. Yeah, sure. We'll see. We will see. Yeah, this is a proper use of the Defense Production Act. You manufacture vaccine supplies, personal protection equipment, and stuff like that. So, hey. We shall see. But this is just frustrating, from beyond frustrating. I did find this though. Okay. Oh man, I was trying to locate that article. Well, Bastio asked, but I found these gold mines instead. All right. House poised to transmit articles of impeachment against Trump to the Senate at about 7 p.m. Eastern time, so tonight. The House will deliver to the Senate an article of impeachment against former President Trump, a move that will trigger preparations for a historic trial. Why is this a historic trial? This has happened before. But okay. The formal step just comes over a year after the House last transmitted an impeachment measure against Trump to the upper chamber. The latest rebuke alleges that the former president incited the January 6th insurrection at the Capitol. On Tuesday, U.S. senators who act as jurors in an impeachment trial will be sworn in. The trial itself will begin on February 9th, given the 9 House impeachment managers and Trump's defense team 2 weeks to file briefs and finalize their legal preparations. An aide to Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell said that the delay will ensure that Trump has due process. A 2-week period also allows for Senate business to continue, like the confirmation of Biden's cabinet nominees. There are essential items on the plate: trial of President Trump now that the House has impeached him, bold, strong COVID relief. Bold, strong COVID relief. Okay. Approving the president's cabinet. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters on Sunday the Senate must advance all 3 in the next few weeks, and we will. The stakes are too high to delay any of them. I mean, you could have a vote on getting economic relief if you wanted to. Just saying. The New York Democrat added the trial will be fair, but it will move at a relatively fast pace. The House impeached Trump on January 13 for an unprecedented second time. Wait, I thought this did happen before. Anyways, charging him with an incitement of an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6. Some Republican senators have said they believe it's unconstitutional to hold an impeachment trial for a president who's already out of office. Others have decried what they view as a partisan exercise. I think the trial was stupid. I think it's counterproductive. Oh, of course. Florida Senator Marco Rubio said on Fox News Sunday, we already have a flaming fire in this country, and it's like taking a bunch of gasoline and pouring it on top of the fire. So I see. So let me get this straight. I did a thing which caused, which it domino effect into what happened, into something that happened. So now I'm on the hook for that, right? I'm a elected official who can get impeached. But and so the logic is here, because I had a part to play in inciting this and had led to what I did led to the events of January 6th. I shouldn't be punished, because then things will get worse because of me. Like, what? Don't punish me, or else it's going to be bad and it's your fault. Like, you shouldn't punish him because then it will cause more damage and it will be your fault. Like, does that follow? Does that follow? Yeah, Marco Rubio here to dispel the fiction. Added Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota on NBC's Meet the Press said it's a moot point. There are things that we'd rather be working on instead. Well, although that is true, there are very important things that need to be done right now. We can't also just not, like, we just also can't not acknowledge this, right? Representative Madeleine Dean of Pennsylvania, who is serving as one of the impeachment managers, says she's heartened by the 10 House Republicans who voted to impeach Trump. 10 was a historically high number. That was a bipartisan impeachment. Well, I mean, okay. She said on CNN State of the Union on Sunday, take a look at the words of Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney, who said Trump assembled a mob and set him on. He lit the flame. I take heart in that. I hope that over the course of the remaining days, as we 9 prepare this trial, more and more elected officials will pay attention to their oath and see the egregious high crimes and misdemeanor that this president was so desperate and capable of in the last weeks in his terms of office. Yeah, to also put like an extra caveat to that, Liz Cheney was actually censured by the Republican Party because she broke ranks So apparently, so much for the tolerant right. For her part, Cheney, the number 3 Republican in the House, is now fending off attacks from her own party stemming from her decision to support Trump's impeachment. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Another impeachment manager, Representative Joaquin Castro of Texas, says he thinks the case for convicting Trump and the trial will become stronger in the days ahead. Yikes, Kevin. I hope you're alright, my friend. Ouch. Right. No, no, no. Now that the investigation is done, we need to move on and heal. There's no need to take any action, because then it'll get worse and it'll be your fault. It's okay. It's for the better. Yeah, that's true, but still, oof. Gotta take care of yourself, Kevin. As the days go on, more evidence comes out of the president's involvement in the incitement of insurrection, the incitement of this riot, and also his dereliction of duty once it was going on. Castro says he's confident the case will be strong enough to convince GOP senators who haven't yet indicated how they'll vote on the conviction. Well, last time they weren't even interested in hearing any type of evidence whatsoever. So, but I don't know. This one's different, I think. To be quite honest, I think this one's different. Okay. Yeah, who knows? They might. What makes me think that this one's going to be a little different is that Mitch McConnell is more open to convicting him. And if anybody can whip the Republicans behind any cause, it's Mitch McConnell. Why did the left monopolize all the media? What's your opinion? Well, it's just not true. Okay. Castro says he's confident. Yeah, okay, so I would hope that first of all they keep their powder dry and they listen to all the evidence and wait for the case to be presented. Most of all, at the end of the day, what we need is for people to put country over person. In other words, over Donald Trump, and country over party, Republican or Democrat. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. We'll see what. Basically, to be quite honest, it probably it probably ends up being in Mitch McConnell's hands, to be quite honest. President Joe Biden will sign an executive order on Monday promoting the Buy American agenda he campaigned on last year, which seeks to bolster U.S. manufacturing through the federal procurement process. The executive order directs agencies to strengthen requirements about purchasing products and services from the U.S. workers and businesses, cuts some red tape, creates a position in the Office Management of Budget responsible for enforcing the directive, an administration official told reporters on a conference call Sunday. The order will reiterate Biden's administration's support for the Jones Act, which limits foreign maritime shipping between U.S. ports to U.S.-made or owned vessels. During the campaign, Biden proposed a Buy American plan calling for a $400 billion four-year increase in government purchasing of U.S.-made products and services. Former President Donald Trump made a similar push, but the Biden administration official says the new effort is clear directive with a clear direction. Wait, but I thought Trump brought all the manufacturing jobs back already, right? Oh, oh man, no, he did not. It's based on his view that we're making things in America and all of America's core to our economic strategy. Adding that the order is part of a broader effort to strengthen supply chains and modernize international trade rules. Ah, yes, that one time Trump stopped the Ford plant from moving that wasn't actually moving. True. Biden has already signed a number of executive actions through his early days as president, including measures to address COVID-19, rejoin the Paris Accord, and eliminate Trump's travel restrictions on mostly targeting a handful of the Muslim ban. Biden will also sign restrictions on Monday on travel to mitigate the U.S. travel to the U.S. to mitigate COVID-19 transmission. The ban would prevent most non-U.S. citizens from entry if they have recently been in South Africa, where a new strain has been identified. Well, isn't that like, don't we already have a new strain here? It's like, I mean, yes, it's good. I'm not saying that we shouldn't do this. I'm not saying we shouldn't do this. I'm saying that, like, it would be, I guess, to continue to mitigate, because it's all like a lot of these new strains are already here. Biden is also expected to reinstate broader restrictions affecting travel from the UK and much of Europe were rescinded by Donald Trump days before his term ended. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain had said Biden will take steps this week related to criminal justice, climate change, access to healthcare, and immigration system and border policies, as well as to reunite families separated at the border to provide equity and support of communities of color. All right, so I think that the move to I think that prioritizing climate change in this manner is pretty good. We'll see how that goes. Speaking of which, President Joe Biden sent 2 executive orders on Friday which would increase the federal food assistance and streamline delivery of stimulus checks as the president attempts to stabilize the economy without congressional assistance amid the fallout from the coronavirus pandemic. We have to act now, Biden said in his remarks before he signed the orders. We cannot and will not let people go hungry. Biden has proposed $1.9 trillion relief plan to Congress, but it's unclear whether it will garner enough Republican support or Democratic support to pass on a bipartisan basis. Until Congress is able to pass another relief bill, Mr. Biden's actions are intended as a stopgap measure to help stabilize the economy. Some Republicans have questioned whether there's still a need for a second larger relief bill after Congress passed a $900 billion bill in December, but in his remarks on Friday, Mr. Biden said that the most recent relief bill is just a down payment. We need more action. We need to move fast. We're in a national emergency. We need to act like we're in a national emergency, so we've got to move with everything we've got. True. In the first order, Mr. Biden asked the Department of Agriculture to allow states to increase SNAP benefits, commonly known as food stamps, by 15%. Okay. Congress recently passed a $1 trillion relief bill that boosted the maximum SNAP by 15%, but that did not help the 40% of SNAP recipients who were already at the maximum benefit. Mr. Biden's order tells the USDA to consider issuing new guidance that would allow states to increase SNAP emergency allotments for those that need it the most, according to a fact sheet provided by the White House, which means an additional 12 million of people will get enhanced benefits. Okay. The order would also increase the pandemic EBT and electronic debit card program for students who would have qualified for free or reduced price meals at school. Mr. Biden is directing USDA to consider issuing new guidance on increasing PEBT benefits by approximately 15% to accurately reflect the cost of missing meals and making it easier for households to claim benefits. According to the White House, this could provide a family with 3 children an additional $100 in support per month. I mean, that's better than nothing. Okay. I mean, like that. I don't think that for a family of a family of 3 children, an additional $100 a month for 3 children. I don't know about that one, Chief. That's not going to feed a family with 3 children. But again, this is an extra additional support of $100. So hey Ben, how's it going? Hope you're doing all right. Under the order, the USDA would also reassess the Thrifty Food Plan, the basis for determining SNAP benefits. According to the fact sheet from the White House, the plan is out of date with the economic realities most struggling households face when trying to buy and prepare healthy food. Due to the economic fallout from the pandemic, more American families have struggled to put food on the table in recent months. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, a nonpartisan research institute, reported that nearly 1 in 5 adults with children reported that their families sometimes or often didn't have enough to eat in the last 7 days, according to data collected from the USDA between last 7 days, according to data collected from the USDA between December 9 and 21, Black and Latino adults are twice as likely to report that their families did not get enough to eat than white families. Increasing SNAP benefits would aid the flailing economy. During an economic downturn, more individuals tend to enroll in SNAP. These enrollees then spend this federal assistance, in which turn generates income for those producing, transporting, selling the food. A 2019 analysis by the USDA Economic Research Service found that $1 billion increase in SNAP benefits could increase the country's GDP about $1.5 billion and support nearly 14,000 jobs. Yeah, so it turns out that, like I said, making sure that people have what they need and essentially money printer go brr for like a moment is actually pretty good. 80% of SNAP is spent on soda and crab legs. Cool. Do you have any like source for that, or are you just talking are you just making stuff up? Thank you for the tier 1 gifted sub, Ben. I appreciate that. To Doodle Muffin. Hey guys, imagine thinking that 80% of SNAP benefits are paid on soda and crab legs. What a weird combination. I'm sure you'll have evidence for that. Furthermore, either way it helps the economy. True, Dustin. Like, okie doke. Yeah, crab legs. Crab legs cooked in root beer? Is that even a thing? Hey, Wing the Ultimate Nug. No, that'd be an abomination. Yeah, I was like, that seems kind of weird to be. Okie doke. Anyways. Mr. Biden's order also aims to streamline the delivery of stimulus checks for those who have not received their direct payments. Congress has passed a bill to provide 600 in direct payments for Americans earning under a certain threshold last month. Mr. Biden, who supports increasing the payments to 2,000 by giving you 14, will also ask Congress to pass legislation providing additional direct checks of 1,400. Mr. Biden also issued a second executive order to improve collective bargaining power and protections for federal workers and direct Office of Personnel Management to develop recommendations to increase the minimum wage for federal employees to 15 an hour. Yeah, so this is what he can do in his purview at this time. Yeah, so expanding SNAP benefits and food stamps and stuff like that is very good. I can get a pound of crab legs for 10 bucks. That isn't that expensive. No, that's not that bad. Hey, Zard. I get lentils at $1 a pound and last for 4 meals. Meat is a ripoff. Oof, I don't know if I could do the lentils. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know. I'll eat beans before I eat lentils. Beans I'm good with. I'm good with beans. No, I'm gonna push back on this, chat. Lentils are not pog. No. Beans. I chew lentils like potatoes, but whatever toppings you like on them. I don't know. Yes, this is news and politics, as it says hopefully in the title if I updated it right. Bulgar is based and not Americans know what it is. I have no idea what this is. Lentejas. No. No, they are not pog. No. This is this is where we part ways, chat, okay? I can't do it. I can't do lentils. Lentejas, as Cheeto Ray says. Yep, just news and politics. Bulgur is like the Middle Eastern Mediterranean equivalent of rice, and it's super neat. Interesting. Just remember, I eat lentils. I can donate to other channels. I love rice. What a weird question. What a weird question. I think that what we should do is, if you really want to help people, you should probably give everybody food, housing, education, and healthcare, which we all know will disproportionately help people of color and First Nations people. So yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna be very careful with that one. If you really want to help those, if you really want to help First Nations people, then invest in those communities. Basic income is reparations for all, but who will disproportionately benefit? It's that, yeah, exactly, Dustin. UBI is a very good idea, but well, it depends on how you deploy it, and I don't know. Sarah Huckabee Sanders announces run for Arkansas governor. Former White House press secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders announced Monday that she is running for governor of Arkansas in 2022. As governor, I'll defend your rights to be free of socialism and tyranny. Nice. Said in her nearly 8-minute launch video, our state needs a leader with the courage to do what's right, not what's politically correct or convenient. Isn't the Arkansas governor Republican? Yeah, so I don't know. Is the current Republican Arkansas governor advocating for socialism? That's kind of weird. Cool. And the little identity politics with it too. I thought Republicans were against identity politics. Okie doke. Okay, Zard. True. What if they have black friends? Yeah, exactly. If she wins so much for Arkansas, not that state is in a good place, anyways. Okay, meme time.
In the pitch black of night, with no lights on the plane or runway, Air Force One touched down in war-torn Iraq. Nearby, hundreds of troops had gathered at a remote military base in the desert to celebrate Christmas. They expected to be joined by senior military leadership, but instead got their commander-in-chief. The room erupted. A young soldier yelled from the back of the room, "Mr. President, I re-enlisted in the Army because of you." And the president replied, "And son, I'm here because of you." That soldier then came over to me and said, "Thank you, Sarah. I love the way you handle yourself. You have a tough job." I politely corrected him and told him thanks. But I take questions. You take bombs and bullets.
Wait.
That's a tough job.
Wait.
The soldier.
You don't take questions. In fact, you didn't for months at a time. And when you did, you would avoid the questions. You didn't even do that.
The soldier silently reached up and tore the Brave Rifles patch from his arm and handed it to me and said, "We're in this together." Overwhelmed with emotion and speechless, I just hugged him with tears in my eyes and a grateful heart for our heroes who keep us free. America is great because we are free, but today, our freedom and the rule of law are under attack.
Oh no.
I was the first White House press secretary.
Because one governor is gonna rise to the challenge.
To require Secret Service protection because of a credible, violent threat against me. We've seen violence in our streets, at a congressional baseball practice, and at our Capitol. This is not who we are as Americans. To remain free, we must have law and order and resolve our differences peacefully. The radical left solution,
except when I lose,
is to impose government control and censorship from the top down. But their socialism and cancel culture will not heal America. It will only further divide and destroy us.
At the mute, I won't listen to this. Yeah,
everything we love about
you.
America is at stake. And with the radical left now in control of Washington, your governor is your last line of defense. In fact, your governor must be on the front line. So today, I announce my candidacy for governor of Arkansas and ask for your prayers and your support.
One
As
governor
I will
in a
defend
world.
your right to be free of socialism and tyranny, your Second Amendment right to keep your family safe, and your freedom of speech and religious liberty. Our state needs a leader with the courage to do what's right, not what's politically correct
It's
or
real.
convenient. I took on the media, the radical left, and their cancel culture, and I won. As governor, I will be your voice.
Wait, what did she win? Question. What did you win?
And never let them silence you. My dad always said the real test of a leader is not the way you handle the issues you know are coming. It's rising to the moment in a crisis you can never plan for. I've been tested under fire, successfully managing one crisis after another in one of the most difficult, high-pressure jobs in all of government. At the table with President Trump confronting our most dangerous adversaries like China and North Korea, winning on tax cuts, the border, and judges, enduring relentless attacks, but still getting the job done. I was only the third woman and the first mom to serve as White House press secretary. And with your support, I hope to be the first woman to lead our state as governor. Arkansas is home. I grew up in Pine Bluff and Texarkana.
Okay, I'm bored. Oh, man. Hey, Anarchist Laboratory, how's it going? Successfully ignoring every question for a few years. Is there beliefs and we can't... Wait, we're not supposed to... Wait. We're not supposed to... Wait, hold on. Am I not allowed to, like... Am I not allowed to criticize, like, people's, like, arguments? And especially if they, like, aren't telling the truth, I'm not allowed to... I'm not allowed to say that? I'm not allowed to call out bullshit? Okay. Yeah, I am, in a way. Because it's a joke. He's trying to cancel me. It's kind of hard to take Sarah seriously when she's skydiving into Antifa cars in the woods. True. Yeah, I can absolutely go after somebody's, like, opinions. Ugh. Isn't medicine in Arkansas crazy? I heard Viennese is like 3,200 there and it's only $300 in Florida. I don't know. What are you talking about, DJ Wise? The left doesn't allow you to tax someone based on their opinion. You should know that. Wait, what? She's also couching this entire, like, video, like, essentially writing off, like, what she perceives as Trump's success will get her elected. That's basically, because she herself has no policy proposal. In that entire video, there's zero policy proposal, zero reasons why I should vote for her. She was widely encouraged to run by former President Trump. Oh, yeah, okay, there it goes. Makes sense. Sanders seeks to replace current GOP. Oh, okay, I see. Was barred by term limits. I thought, thought she was just trying to replace them. Alright, my bad. Hey, Sergeant Hoffman. Yeah, exactly. Wing the ultimate Doug. Yeah, apparently that's the argument. Why did she marry Bernie Sanders if she's a real... She's... Okay, she's not very... She's not Bernie Sanders' wife, just to be clear. Apparently there was only one full-time person working for COVID under Trump. Was that Dr. Fauci? She was the press secretary. Well, ideally, they do press conferences to answer questions from the press and inform the public. That's basically what they do. Like, for example, she held the COVID-19 secretary press conferences. Now, just like the Trump administration did those press conferences, now the Biden administration is doing them for COVID and other stuff to answer questions that the press may have. Did you see the interview with Sarah Sanders with an Australian news station where she smiled like 10 times? No, I didn't see that. Was that recent? Hope you're doing alright, Dragon Rider. Post it on the Discord or send it to me via DMs. In another meme story, election technology company Dominion sues Rudy Giuliani for $1.3 billion over big lie about election fraud. Yeah, Rudy Giuliani is gonna have his day coming too. An election technology company that has been the focus of consistent conspiracy theories by Donald Trump and his allies has sued the former president's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, for defamation after he pushed a big lie about election fraud on his podcast and TV appearances. Dominion Voting Systems is seeking more than $1.3 billion in damages. Just as Giuliani and his allies intended, the big lie went viral on social media as people tweeted, retweeted, and raged at Dominion and stolen their votes, while some little lies, flare up on social media and die within the next news cycle. The big lie was different. Lawyers for Dominion wrote in the lawsuit filed for DC District Court on Monday morning, the harm to Dominion's business and reputation is unprecedented, irreparable because of how fervently millions of people believe it. The lawsuit notes that while Giuliani spread falsehoods about Dominion being owned by Venezuelan communists and corrupting the election, he did not make those claims in lawsuits he pushed on behalf of Trump because they're fake. This is the second defamation lawsuit Dominion has filed in recent weeks, seeking to recoup its losses following Trump post-election disinformation campaign. The vote auditing company previously sued Sidney released the Kraken Powell, who pushed similar claims alongside Giuliani. The Powell lawsuit is still in its earliest stage. We'll see what happens with that. Dominion has positioned itself in recent weeks as a major voice to push back against Trump's false election claims and insurrection of the Capitol followed by his followers, hoping to overturn Joe Biden's win. In the lawsuit on Monday, the company focused on how Giuliani continued to claim without evidence that Dominion aided in election fraud even after he received a cease and desist letter. The Canadian-founded company details how listeners of Giuliani reacted by amplifying his messages online of a stolen election. The former mayor of New York and well-known prosecutor repeated his claims on his podcast, his radio show, YouTube shows. He also used his platform in recent months to take money, pitching cigars, a conservative alternative to AARP, and the state. That's right. If you ever watch one of these Rudy Giuliani videos, he does shill for cigars. Giuliani also appeared on TV news networks, OAN, Fox, and Fox Business to make accusations of election fraud. Dominion said it's now distrusted by millions of American voters and its employees have been harassed. The company believes hundreds of its contracts with states and localities are now in jeopardy and that the business projects a loss of profits in the next 5 years of $200 million. Well, have fun. I'm sure he's gonna get sued into oblivion if this goes through. If there's precedent with the Sidney Powell lawsuit, I'm sure he's gonna get his. Yeah, that's a good one. Hey Rix, how's it going? Like a jurisprudence vampire, he can't appear in court and tell the truth. It'd be like sunlight to a vampire. Yeah, because he knows what will happen if he shows up in court and tries to say any of this stuff in court. I mean, there's a reason why he never did that. There's a very, very good reason why he never did that. All right, folks. This is the article. That I really want to go over. I thought Rudy was disbarred from practice anyways. I'm not sure. I saw that he was... being disbarred or may have already been. I don't know. Who knows? Oh, shoot, I forgot to show for myself. Folks, if you enjoyed the content, please make sure you hit the follow button. And if you guys head on over to the YouTube channel really quickly and just hit that sub button, that would really help us out. We appreciate all you guys hanging out here. You guys are what makes this go. Thank you guys. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys being here. I don't do a very good job of shilling for myself, but yes, if you enjoyed the content, hit that follow button somewhere up here, or the subscribe button. Yeah. Do it. Amsterdam is embracing a radical new economic, I wanted to see the story. Did you just finish it? No, we're just beginning heat. Welcome, welcome. We're just beginning. This is a good one. This is a good one. Amsterdam is embracing a radical new economic theory to help save the environment. Could it also replace capitalism? On one evening in December, after a long day working from home, Jennifer Jordan, heading out to buy groceries in central Amsterdam, once inside, she notices new price tags. The label by zucchini said they cost a little more than normal, 6 extra cents per kilo, their carbon footprint, 5 cents for the toll of farming it takes on the land, 4 cents to fairly pay the workers. They're all extra costs that are daily life that normally no one would pay for, even be aware of. These so-called true price initiatives, operating in stores since late of 2020, is one of dozens of schemes that Amsterdammers have introduced in recent months as they assess the impact of existing economic systems. By some accounts, that system, capitalism, has its origins just a mile away from the grocery store. In 1602, at a house on a narrow alley, a merchant began selling shares in the Dutch East India Company. In doing so, he paved the way for the creation of the first stock exchange and capitalist global economy that has transformed life on Earth. Now I think we're one of the first cities in a while to start questioning this system. Is it actually making us healthy and happy? What do we want? Is it really just economic growth? In April of 2020, during the first wave of COVID-19, Amsterdam city government announced that it would recover from the crisis and avoid future ones by embracing the theory of donut economics, laid out by British economist Kate Raworth in a 2017 book. The theory argues that 20th century economic thinking is not equipped to deal with the 21st century reality of a planet teetering on the edge of climate breakdown. Instead of equating a growing GDP with a successful society, our goal should be to fit all of human life into what Rother calls the sweet spot between social foundation, where everyone has what they need to live a good life, and the environmental ceiling. And by and large, people in rich countries are living above the environmental ceiling. Those in poor countries often fall below the social foundation. Space in between, that's the donut. Amsterdam's ambition is to bring all 872,000 residents inside the donut, ensuring everyone has access to a good quality of life, but without putting more pressure on the planet than is sustainable. Guided by Raworth's organization, Donut Economics Action Lab, DEAL, the city is introducing massive infrastructure projects, employment schemes, and new policies for government contracts to that end. Meanwhile, some 400 local people and organizations have set up a network called the Amsterdam Donut Coalition, managed by Druin, to run their own programs at grassroots levels. It's the first time a major city has attempted to put donut theory into action on a local level, but Amsterdam is not alone. Raworth says DEAL has received an avalanche request from municipal leaders and others seeking to build more resilient societies in the aftermath of COVID. Copenhagen City Council majority decided to follow Amsterdam's example in June, as did Brussels region and the small city of Dunedin, New Zealand. In September, Nanaimo, British Columbia. In December, in the US, Portland, Oregon is preparing to roll out its own version of the donut, and Austin may be close behind. Austin, Texas? Nice. The theory has run Raworth some high-profile fans in November. Pope Francis endorsed her fresh thinking, while celebrated British naturalist Sir David Attenborough dedicated a chapter to the donut in his latest book, The Life on Our Planet, calling it our species compass for the journey to a sustainable future. Yes. Donuts. Copenhagen represent what's considered a good quality of life. Well, your basic necessities: food, housing, education. Healthcare. Probably pretty easy to get the PDF book, but of course, don't do anything illegal though. True. Now, Amsterdam is grappling with what the donut would look like on the ground. Merrick Van Dornick, the deputy major for sustainability and urban planning, says the pandemic added urgency to help the city get behind a bold new strategy. Kate already told us what to do. COVID showed us the way to do it. I think in the darkest times, it's easiest to imagine another world, an alternative. In 1990, Raworth, now 50, arrived at Oxford University to study economics. She quickly became frustrated by the content of the lectures she recalls over the Zoom from her office in Oxford, where she now teaches. She was learning about ideas from decades and sometimes centuries ago, supply and demand efficiencies, rationality, and economic growth as the ultimate goal. The concepts of the 20th century emerged from an era in which humanity saw itself as separated from the web of life. In this worldview, she adds, environmental issues are relegated to what economists called externalities. It's just an ultimate absurdity in the 21st century that when we know we are witnessing the death of a living world, unless we utterly transform the way we live, the death of the living world is called an environmental. The way we live, the death of the living world is called an environmental externality. Yes, what we consider negative externalities. Well, technology has a huge negative effect on our environment. So, do we get rid of unnecessary technology? Well, yeah. Like for example, planned obsolescence shouldn't be a thing, right? Planned obsolescence shouldn't be a thing. It's not against technology itself. It's the way this it's a way that this consumerist economy is run, where it's encouraged to every year you need a new thing to make your iPhone work. Every year they come up with a new cable that you can't use. It's like this planned obsolescence is the problem, not the technology itself. It's still capitalism, just nicer capitalism. Yeah, in a way. But the thing is, like, we still need to move in the directions of what we can do in the time that we have and as quickly as we can, and as I mean what we can do right now, and in the most urgent way. And yeah, we have to understand that, of course, addressing the economics is a piece of climate change. There's just no way we cannot ignore that. We can't ignore this consume. Yeah, not as good as it could be, but definitely if it's something that we can do right now, which we can, I don't see why we couldn't. I have no reason to be against it. It kind of builds to where we want to go. Almost after 2 decades after she left university, as the world was reeling from the 2008 crash, Raworth struck up an alternative to the economics she has been taught. She has gone off to work in the charity sector in 2010, sitting in the open plan office of the anti-poverty nonprofit Oxfam in Oxford. She became across a diagram, a group of scientists studying the conditions that make life on Earth possible, and had identified 9 planetary boundaries that would threaten humans' ability to survive across, like the acidification of the oceans. Inside these boundaries, a circle colored in green showed the safe place for humans. But if there's an ecological overshoot for the planet, she thought there could also be the opposite, shortfalls, creating deprivation for humanity. Kids not in school, not getting decent healthcare, people facing famine, she says, and I drew a circle in the middle. It kind of looked like a donut. So again, like, you know, food, housing, education, healthcare, yeah, kind of the same things that I keep harping on about. That's up to you, careless whimper. Gotta keep eyes. That's what I'm saying. Like, people should absolutely be engaged and should be paying attention to what your representatives, or I guess in this case, parliament for you, your representatives are doing, and hopefully, you know, vote accordingly. in the sense that you can, of course. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying that the article is misleading. It's not replacing capitalism, it's just softening it. Okay, I see. I'm not against per se because it's a step towards socialism or what have you. True. They stole my idea. True. Technology requires 50% of energy consumption. Some people truly want to be energy efficient. Equipment reliant. This doesn't even touch the aspect of how. This doesn't even touch the aspect of how and what is used to make technologies. No. Obviously, to create said things, it has a cost, right? To create said, for example, battery reserves has an ecological cost. The idea is to try to minimize that, and once you have those things put in place, then you won't need any more. You won't need to have any further ecological cost, because once you have those in place, the sun turbines, hydroelectric, geothermal will take care of the rest, right? Yes, it does have upfront ecological costs, but the idea is so that you minimize that to borderline zero after you're done. I wish I left this one better. It's sort of out of. I'm sort of out of local organizing since the rev comes. I was butting up with when totally fucking crazy. Oof. Interesting. Hey, some are. With it, Mono, some are. Raworth published her Theory of the Donut as a paper in 2012 and later a 2017 book, which has been since translated to 20 languages. The theory doesn't lay out specific policies or goals for countries. It requires stakeholders to decide what benchmarks would bring them inside the donut. Emission limits, for example, or to end how. Well, there's the problem. Oh no, sorry, I read shareholders. Okay. I read shareholders for a second. I was like, oh man, oh boy. No, stakeholders. Okay. To decide what benchmarks would bring them inside the donut. Emission limits, for example, or for an end to homelessness. The process of setting those benchmarks is the first step to becoming a donut economy. Ranthorpe argued that the goal of setting into the donut should replace governments and economics' pursuit of never-ending GDP growth. Not only is the primary GDP overinflated, when we now have many other data sets to measure economic and social well-being, that's true. She also said that endless growth powered by natural resources and fossil fuels will inevitably push the Earth beyond its limits. Also true. Overconsumption. When we think of terms of health, we think of something that tries to grow endlessly within our bodies, recognized immediately. That would be a cancer. The donut can seem abstract, and it has attracted criticism. Some conservatives say the donut model can't compete with capitalism's proven ability to. The problem is these things aren't even being accounted for now. They're just called externalities. Yes. That's what we say. Like, when we say, like, oh yeah, you're not even taking into account the negative externalities of not fixing this problem, that's what we mean. I'm not being optimistic. I'm putting forth different alternatives and ways and roadmaps we can use to try to turn the ship around in the immediate, right? In the immediate. The things that we can do now with the levers that we can press at this time. In other words, things that we can do now is mobilize ourselves into something like this. In the immediate, we can move towards replacing fossil fuels with renewables. Battery technology is already pretty good. So I have no reason to believe that we can't do that here. So yeah, I'm just providing alternatives and making things possible. Doing what's possible right now in the immediate while we still have what little time we have left. If we can even get any of this, important things that we need to do done. Part of the problem is these studies that are done in other countries are not at scale compared to the US. Well, what couldn't you upscale? Yes, I have desert in my bookmarks. I keep meaning to do it and I never do. Yes, capitalism is what put them in poverty. Actually, yeah, I've been trying to start a process with CKI myself. Oh, I see. Renewables isn't even close to being sustainable enough for our societal needs. I don't know about that. I think that renewable, in combination with everything that we have, with solar, wind, you know, solar, wind, geothermal, biomass. I mean, like we even have like nuclear alternatives where we can't, where we can't do that. Yeah, we're not doing enough either way. That's true. Cities offer a good opportunity to prove that. Oh, sorry. Here we go. Some critics on the left say the donut's apolitical nature means it will fail to tackle ideology and political structures that prevent climate action. Cities offer a good opportunity to prove that the donut can actually work in practice. In 2019, C40, a network of 97 cities focused on climate action, asked Railroad to create reports on 3 of its members, Amsterdam, Philadelphia, and Portland, showing how far they were from living inside the donut. Inspired by this process, Amsterdam decided to run with it. The city drew up a circular strategy combining the donut's goals with the principle of a circular economy, which reduces, reuses, and recycles materials across consumer goods, building materials, and food. Policies aim to protect the environment and natural resources, reduce social exclusion, and guarantee good living standards for all. Van Dornick, the deputy mayor, says the donut was a revelation. I was brought up in Thatcher times and Reagan times with the idea that there's no alternative to our economic model. Reading the donut was like, eureka, there is an alternative. Economics is a social science, not a natural one. It's invented by people. It can be changed by people. Yes. But you have to understand that, like, failure to address this is catastrophic and it's unacceptable. The things went to, I'm not saying things are great. It's saying it's not in Finland or small countries in the true picture. Similar to the homeless argument. There's like no reason why we couldn't upscale any of this. Like, go city by city and then state by state. I don't understand. In combination would absolutely be sufficient. There's no experts honestly arguing against that. Legitimate skeptics argue that renewable doesn't alone create enough backbone. Yep, what we need to do is like we need to race towards fusion, and if we can do that, then we're good. But we need to implement what we can right now, which the technology that we have available is moving in the direction of renewable, which is now cheaper and easier and more widespread at this point than any energy energy product at this time. So it makes sense to go with the products that are being dictated by the market. Like, I don't understand what the problem is here. One of my state's representatives that just got elected is trying to push for large-scale implementation of solar homes, but it's Iowa, so it's going to be difficult. Most of us are poor AF. Yeah, so you yeah, so it would be ideal if the government can subsidize. It's not going to happen though, and you know, it's a crime of convenience. Yeah, well, one can only push for what they believe is right and keep pushing forth science and logic to the front, and I will continue to do what I do while there's still time. Also, most renewables just damaging to the economy and many different factors. I'm not sure, because this is like saying, like Darknet posted, it's like saying, well, you know, we can't you can't put the candle makers out of business in favor of the light bulb, right? Wait, who's advocating for genocide? Let's march our trash governor's term is up so we can vote her out, and that'll remove a big roadblock on our way to solar homes. Nice. Well, hopefully enough organization happens. You see, that's what I mean. Like, stay engaged in terms of, like, politics. Know what your representatives are up to. Know who they are. Know what they're doing. Know what bills are coming up. Know what the ramifications are. It's a tool. Why not use it? Wait. Wait. So, like, for example, we're putting a bunch of solar panels on all the homes. Like, for example, as the Anarchist Laboratory said, on all the homes is going to destroy wildlife habitat. I mean, I'm sure that in some situations it will have an effect, but what we're doing right now is infinitely worse. Yikes. How do you build a solar panels? You have to mine the materials? Yes, they have an initial cost. That's what I was talking about. They have an initial cost, but once you get those in place, the environmental cost is almost nil. Once you get the initial upfront cost over with, it is much better than what we're doing right now. Yeah, like, the idea is to always move forward with better technology. Like, this is like saying, like, oh yeah, well, you know what? In other words, we shouldn't move forward because because it clearly has obvious cost to it as well, and we should acknowledge that and try to cut those. Is degrowth, which, to be clear, I think is necessary. True. And we could just go back to nuclear. Not sold on the ability to nuclear can be used in instances where it's necessary, but what we should be doing is moving, instead of building more nuclear, we should be moving towards fusion. If we switch to marine completely, but one, that's not happening, and two, we need to reduce our consumption significantly. True. In order to actually tackle this, we need global behavior change on a scale will never be seen. It's not happening. For as good as nuclear tanks are, there are serious problems. Yeah, we True. No, we just haven't developed it. The name of the game is buying ourselves time until we can implement a long-term solution. We have less than 5 years left. We face a severe water shortage. It's already taking hold in the global south. Yeah. So again, like, what is the alternative? What is the alternative as to not doing anything, right? As to just keeping business as usual? It's not acceptable. It's just not acceptable. We've developed nuclear, so we should just use what we have now until something better comes along. There's also the problem of how long it takes to get nuclear plants up as well. It's much quicker to do renewable. Yeah, there's waste disposals is still a concern as well. We need to do both. We need to do a lot of things. That's the thing. It's not just one thing or the other. There's several different things that we need to do to even begin to address this issue, right? We need to obviously address like reforming our economic system. We need to move into renewable energies, some of which will include nuclear, where we can't get a hold of the others. We need to boost and pour resources into fixing or healing crucial ecosystems that ecosystems that keep us alive. We need to form an international coalition to address this across the board. There's so many different things that we need to do at once that it is quite literally a monumental effort, and it will be an international it has to be an international coordination, but it has to happen here. We decentralize energy systems, but good luck getting that idea passed in a Western country. What do you mean? Like for example, each state has its own energy grid instead of like a national energy grid? Hey Grom, how's it going? Yeah, I feel you. It's going. Centralized systems are going to become increasingly tasty as a target of for all manner of security threats for starters. But like, what do you mean? Do you mean like every state should have its own energy grid? Alright, so the new donor-shaped world Amsterdam wants to build is coming into view as the South Asian side city, rising almost 15 feet out of placid waters. Lake is, I don't know how to pronounce that, lies the city's latest flagship construction project, Shayland Beach Island, part of Iberg, an archipelago of 6 new islands built by city contractors. Beach Island was reclaimed from the waters with sand and carried by boats, run on low emission fuel. The foundations were laid using a process that doesn't hurt. Local wildlife were exposed. Future residents to sea level rise. Its future neighborhood is designed to reduce zero emissions and to prioritize social housing and access to nature. Beach Island embodies Amsterdam's new priority, balance as the project manager. 1 years ago, everything in the city was focused on production of houses as quickly as possible. It's still important, but now we take time to do the right thing. Leanne Holsterbosch, Hilberg's sustainability advisor, says the donut has shaped the mindset of the team, meaning Beach Island and its future neighbor, Boitini Island. Wind and land are more focused on sustainability than the first stage. If only this was done from the beginning. Completed around 2012, this is not an everyday day-to-day city project that starts with a donut, but the model is really part of our DNA now. You notice the conversations that we have with college, colleagues, we're doing things that 10 years ago we would have done because we are valuing things differently. Yeah. And here's a picture of what they're doing. If each state does their own thing, isn't that kind of like seceding from the union? If every state does its own thing and takes care of everything. That's one way, yeah, I'm totally fine with abolishment of the union. That's not a bad thing. Ideally, energy is captured, created, and stored as close to possible as to the end user. Yes, as to provide most efficient way getting energy. Okay, so like for example, everybody has solar panels on their roofs. That would be an example. No, states do some things, and the federal government has its job as well. Alright folks, it is 11:28. I do gotta get going to work. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Thank you, Ben. Thank you for the tier 1 community sub. Thank you for the donation. Thank you for all the new follows. I appreciate that. Guys, hey Grom, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate that. Please, guys, stay safe. Take care of each other. I'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Please follow, subscribe, do all that awesome stuff. Thank you, guys. As always, please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Alright, let's head on over really quickly. Touring news. Touring news. Alright, folks. See ya, Cheeto. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's head on out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.